Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, sorry I'm a little bit late, as usual, just as I'm about to start live, all hell lets loose, the doorbell's ringing, the phone's ringing, the dogs are barking. Do you know, no matter how many times I tell Amazon, do not ring my doorbell, I've left those delivery instructions, they still ring the doorbell. What happens when you ring my doorbell? The dogs go mad. Oh, just honestly, it's been a crazy morning already. So anyway, there you go. Nothing mega, just irritating things. So now the big dog that's upstairs has got all anxious because she's at the doorbell ring. She's crying. Oh, soon as I do a live, it's like I send out this. I don't know what I'll send out. As I said, then the phone rang and I'm stuck on the phone for like 10-15 minutes because it was just every time I start a live. And and I know people like the lives, but sometimes I think maybe I shouldn't do lives. I should just do recorded videos and you wouldn't have all this chaos on the video. But anyway, as I say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world. I haven't even had a chance to put on my banner. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to all my members, especially. We had, what day is it? Friday? Yeah, last night we had a quiz. And that was good. I hope you all enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Thank you to anyone who's PayPal me, sent me emails, left me nice messages, or contributed in any positive way towards my. Sorry, I'm laughing because I've got a little dog here that's sort of like sniffing my fingers and sort of like trying to push me. So Riley's trying to photobomb. I need like I don't know what I need. I need a soundproof studio somewhere. Anyway. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you to you lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Replay Crew. And thank you to everyone. I can hear something in the background, but I don't know what it is. What is it? Right. Yeah, I think I'm okay. So for anyone who doesn't know me, sorry about the chaos. Most of my lives are pretty chaotic one way or another. My name's Vicky Marie. I am British, but I live in Spain. I cover mainly crime, true crime. I cover cases from the UK, from Australia, from the USA, Canada, any English-speaking country, really. But I also cover cases here in Spain. Or Europe, so any case that people find interesting, that I think my chatterati will find interesting. And we don't deal with conspiracy theories, we stick with the facts and we stick with cases right through to the end. And two of the most mysterious cases that we're looking at the moment, and that's the reason that I've decided to look at these cases together, are the cases of little Gus. Unfortunately, they're all children, missing children, but so similar in what's happened or what appears to have happened, or we don't know what's happened. I mean, the mystery is incredible. This is little Gus Lamont. He's 4 years old. He's gone missing in Australia on a very remote property, like a sheep station out there in Australia near Adelaide. This is a case we're following. He's been gone. Well, I don't think it's quite a month, but it's near as damn it. It's the police have given up hope that he's going to be found alive, because 1 minute he was playing. He lives on his grandma's sheep station with his mum and his a younger sibling. His dad does not live there because apparently they're still together. His mum and dad are together, apparently. let's have a look. I'll show this photo. Yeah, this is his mum, this is his dad, Gus, and his Gma. His Gma is a transsexual woman that transitioned many years ago, and I believe is living with another woman. They're very private people. So, the information that we have on them is quite limited. But from what we know, the mum and dad are still together, but he does not live on in the same place because of some kind of, it's a complicated family relationship. And that's a similarity, of course, it's got with Jack and Lily's case. So we're going to be talking about that, what happened there. Gus apparently was playing in a sand pit one Saturday early evening. His Gma saw him, and then when she went back out, he'd gone. And there's been nothing found except a boot print, one boot print. Very similar in Jack and Lily's case. A boot print makes you wonder, doesn't it? How is that? Seems strange that these two cases from different parts of the world have some of these things in common. The boot print, I think, is very strange. Where's all the other boot prints, footprints, signs, anyway. So he's been searched for. There's been two big particular searches. There's been drones out. Anyway, nothing else has been found of Gus. He's disappeared into thin air. So we're going to be looking at that case. And then, of course, Jack and Lily Sullivan. These two children, this is Lily, who's 6, and Jack, her brother, who is 4, or I think he's just about to turn 5. He will be 5 this month, I think, according to his one of his grandmas. His biological father's mum, Belinda. You'll see her say that in an interview. And very similar. Live in a remote place, but this time in Nova Scotia in Canada. Not quite as remote as where Gus lives, but surrounded by woodland. Whereas little Gus, where he's disappeared from, there's not really any trees. It's a very open area. So you would think that if Gus was there somewhere, he would have been found. A bit more difficult maybe to find Jack and Lily because it's a wooded area. They again supposedly playing outside. People heard them. And then one minute they were there and the next minute they were gone. So we're going to have a look at any little bit more information about that case as well. Suspicion has landed firmly on the shoulders of Daniel Martel, who is their mum's partner. Their mum, Malaya, there she is in that photo with Daniel. She has Jack and Lily to his previous relationship, and she has a child with Daniel called Meadow. And apparently when Jack and Lily disappeared, Daniel and Malaya were in bed with the baby, drifting in and out of sleep. One minute they could hear them outside. Daniel said that Lily put her head around the door a couple of times. And then the next minute they couldn't hear them anymore and they'd gone, disappeared. And that morning around 6 o'clock, somebody had contacted the school, 6 a.m.-ish, to say that the children won't be in school because they were ill. Daniel has 2 children by a previous relationship, a relationship in which there is allegedly domestic violence. We don't know that there was domestic violence in this relationship. We do know that Jack had black eyes when he went to school a few times. And Daniel said that was because he either walked into a door or Lily did it to him. So now the other thing we have to remember with this case is everybody concerned in this case, because they also live similar in that way as well. They live on a property, and the grandmother, Daniel's mum, So it's the children's step-grandmother, if you like, or it's not their biological grandmother, lives on the property in a trailer. So that's a similarity as well, because Gus lived with his GMAs and his mum, etc., all on the same property. So, but again, complicated family relationships. We can't work out, was Malaya about to leave Daniel? You know, there's allegations about that. Has people saying that Malaya arranged for the children to be taken to get them away from Daniel? There's all sorts of allegations, as you can imagine, as there always is in cases where there are no answers. People invent answers, don't they, or allege answers. We're going to look at some of those things. Really, the purpose of this video is I wanted to talk about the two cases, just to keep them fresh, because I think it's important that these cases don't become cold. And we know that cases like this, like Summer Wells, like Sebastian Rogers, it's difficult to keep a case going when there's no new information whatsoever coming in, isn't it? Very difficult. But these children, they deserve to be found. We need to know what's happened to them. Their families need to know what's happened to them. But also, I think, you know, the commonality that these two cases have as well is that they've generated international interest because of the mystery. That's why I think, you know, when children just literally disappear into thin air, there's always going to be an outpouring of concern, not only in the nationally but internationally. In this day and age, of course, when news spreads quickly. And I think with Jack and Lilly, it's especially strange for two children to disappear. That's what, even if it was foul play, it's very unusual for two children to be abducted or killed or whatever at the same time. So, and in both cases, the police, the respective police forces, are saying there's no evidence of foul play at the moment, no evidence of abduction. No, it just seems like these children just wandered away, never to be seen again. But they've not been found. Their remains have not been found. Only these mysterious boot prints in both cases. And in the Jack and Lilly case also has been found bits of a blanket that people seem to think is a plant. A blanket that was taken out of the rubbish bin. You know, just can't get any more mysterious, really, can it? Anyway, I'm going to come into the chat, say hello to everybody who's here. Hi, Lily. Hi, Marcos. Hi, Shay. Yes, lovely Friday to you. Hi, Win. I hope this weekend, you know, the thing is, I don't think at the moment the police are searching in either case. They've done searches in both cases, extensive searches, drone searches, dog searches, and not found anything. So I do believe that in this particular moment, there are no active searches going on, except maybe what volunteers are doing. Okay, so we're going to start with Gus. We're going to start with Gus's case. And we're going to get this particular video we're going to watch, which is from Daily Mail Australia. This is from 9 days ago. So this is not the most up-to-date information, but we're going to watch it. We've not watched it before. I think it's a very interesting, it's always good to hear other people's take on something. I haven't heard this reporter speaking before about this case or any case, to be honest. So, yeah, let's see what this lady has got to say. Poor little Gus, where is he? Now, I think just looking at this, look at this place. You know, how remote it is. You know, maybe like somebody left a comment saying it's not remote compared to the standards of that area. Well, maybe it isn't, but it's still remote. You know, it's like it's remote to any standards, isn't it? There's not many people live in a place like that where it's, you know, a little boy. I mean, how far could he run? really. I think that's what the police would have been thinking in the first instance. He's only a little boy, he can't have gone too far. No, toddlers can run fast and they can move quickly. But wouldn't he trip up? Or this is what worries me. They may have tripped up and fallen down a gully or something. But yeah, because there's not many trees. You know, you can see from that scrubland. It's not really the sort of place where a body might lie. I know he's only little at the end of the day, but it's not really, you know, you think it would be noticed, especially the amount of searching that's gone on, because it's open, isn't it? But did he fall down something like a mine shaft, a gully? You know, no idea. But the thing is, he's not been found. And I'm presuming that the property has been searched. It's got to have been searched, surely. Because it's a big property. There's a lot, you know, if the, you know, the worst had happened and there'd been some foul play by the family, and I'm not saying there wasn't, I feel for this family, because obviously there's a lot of aspersions being cast against them. But, you know, that's, if you were that family, you would want that all out of the way, wouldn't you? Like, to me, if my little boy had gone missing, I'd be saying to the police, just come and search this property. Search it, bring your dogs in, get it over with, and then get out there and find my son. You know, you would appreciate that the police are looking for your son. So they've got to search your property. Of course they have, because just because you say you haven't done anything to him doesn't mean say you haven't. You know, unfortunately, families do bad things to children. While we might not be able to get our head around it, it does happen. So if that was your child, your grandchild, and you were innocent, you would want the police to do whatever. And the thing is, even if you were innocent, like, for example, if your child was disappeared and you know you haven't done it, but you don't know for a fact that another member of your family hasn't done it. That's happened too. Look at Tia Sharp. You know, there was the grandma, her grandma wouldn't have harmed a hair on Tia's head, but she didn't realise that the partner she was with, he had harmed a hair, and you know, he had harmed Tia, murdered her, and hidden her in the attic of their property. So, you know, even if you were innocent, you would want the police to search your property, because you would want to make sure. You could not be 100% that even if you hadn't done it, that another member of your family hadn't done something. Sorry, but you can't ever be 100%. You know, how many times do we think, oh no, he couldn't possibly have done that, or she couldn't possibly have done that. But people do things, and you know, things happen, people do things. And you can never, ever really underestimate anyone, I believe. Anyway, let's have a look at this video.
I'm here where they're searching for little Gus Lamont yet again. Many people are asking the same question. Why have they resumed the search now? Either way, the push to find Gus is back on, and slowly but surely the details of Gus's family are being pulled into.
So look at this. Now, how far can that boy have gone, really? You know, can you imagine a little boy? So he's going to start running and just think it'd be fun to run off into the wilderness. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that he's run off. Someone's taken him, or he's still in that area somewhere, or somebody's taken him off somewhere. There's no way. In my opinion, I'm just going, but I mean, you know, you can never know. But just by my instinct, just what logic would tell me, that little boy was playing in a sandpit, and unless someone lured him away or took him away, he's not gone out of that area voluntarily.
To the spotlight. It's understood that Josh only found out that his son was missing after police woke him up at his Lilly North farmhouse hours after Gus had gone missing. Did police get new information?
So, yeah, so although apparently Gus's biological mother and father are not separated, that he does not live on that property.
Or did senior commanders call off the search too soon? I'm Carly Smith, senior reporter for Daily Mail, and I'm here where they're searching for little Gus Lamont yet again. The search was called off more than a week ago after Gus vanished from the front yard of his grandparents, Josie and Shannon Murray, where he was playing in the sandpit around 5 p.m. on September 27. But now, as of Tuesday, the search is back on. Behind me, around 80 Army personnel and several police officers have resumed the search on this sheep station called Oak Park.
Yeah, so they brought the Army in for the second search, which has now finished without finding anything again. But they literally brought the Army in to do it. They used everything they could. They used special drones and nothing. No, that boy's not there, I don't think. Or if he's there, he's hidden very well.
They're combing very difficult terrain out here. As you can see, there's some salt bush and some scrub, but out there it is largely featureless. There are a few hills and a bit of scrubland, but there's not much else. Oak Park Station is around 320 kilometres from Adelaide in South Australia's mid-north. The search radius for little Gus has now almost doubled. When it began, it was around 2 kilometres from the homestead. Now it's about 5 kilometres.
Yeah, so probably logic told the police that he's going to be within 2 kilometres somewhere. I mean, when he first disappeared, there would have been still hope, wouldn't they? He could have fallen, he could be lying somewhere, but injured but alive. It was when it's about a week, after about a week, a little boy like that cannot sustain himself. If he'd had an accident or whatever, even if he was alive to begin with, he could not remain alive just because he wouldn't have had any water or food or anything like that. And he's not got a little boy of 4 has not got the wherewithal to find his own food and water. So that's when it became a recovery mission. And the initial search was stopped. I mean, the police have said they're making other inquiries. They're not only doing the searching, they are looking at other inquiries as well. There's always the possibility his father went and got him, isn't there? Or, that somebody else went and got him. Somebody, I mean, there is a road near there, but it seems to me that there's no way that I don't think anybody's taken him. I don't think it's possible. And the other thing is, if any vehicle would have rocked up to that house, the GMAR would have heard. So apparently he was there with one of his GMARs and his sibling, while his mum and the other GMAR were out at the sheep station. This is apparently what happened, but I don't think we've had a proper timeline from the police yet anyway.
Oak Park Station is around 45 kilometres from the Barrier Highway, which is the nearest major road. The track is rough and it has so far damaged several vehicles coming out to either cover the story or attend the search. Just yesterday we were told that a couple of Army personnel trucks managed to actually get separated from the rest of their convoy because the sand that is kicked up by all these vehicles is so thick that they actually lost touch with each other for a little while. Many people are asking the same question. Why have they resumed the search now?
So even that when the Army have gone out there, 2 Army vehicles, got lost because of the dust. This little boy, surely he has not managed to run off that far.
Police get new information, or did senior commanders call off the search too soon? Either way, the push to find Gus is back on, and slowly but surely, the details of Gus's family are being pulled into the spotlight. Gus's devastated family remain stoic and are cooperating with the police investigation.
You can imagine just how they're feeling, without having Gus and without having answers as to exactly where Gus is and what's happened to him. This would be traumatic for any family.
It's understood that Shannon and Josie inherited Oak Park Station from Shannon's side of the family. Her father, Vincent, was a World War II hero who was a prisoner of war on the Thai-Burma Railway, and her mother was Claire. Grandparent Josie also happens to be transgender. Josie, who was formerly known as Robert, appeared to begin her gender transition after the death of Vincent Pfeiffer, Shannon's father. The town has been accepting of her choice, according to a Yunta source who I spoke to recently. It is unclear if Josie and Shannon's marriage is still intact after her transition, but they do still live together here at the homestead. The family is incredibly private and actually took them 6 whole days to release a photo of little Gus after he went missing, which they were criticised for on social media. Gus's mother Jessica, whose own long blonde curly hair is very similar to that of her son's.
Yeah, so they got a lot of stick because it took them quite a few days to release a picture of Gus. Now, I think you can say this family is very, very private. Just the fact that they live there, they obviously like to keep themselves to themselves. No family would like to be thrust into the media spotlight, would they, really? And especially in these circumstances. But having said that, if you're searching for your little boy who's disappeared, you would want media attention, wouldn't you? Because, they don't know what happened to this little boy, do they? So somebody could have taken him, or somebody could know something. I just think it's all so mysterious, and that's why it's so similar with Jack and Lily's case. The mystery of it, why do they live separately if they're still together, this couple? And, as I say, Gus's GMA that was looking after him that day is the lady that's transitioned many years ago, but is still living with her wife, if you like, from when she was a male. What's that arrangement? Is it still a marriage, or is it just convenient? At the end of the day, if you like living somewhere and you get on well, why shouldn't they live together as sort of friends or almost sisters, really, rather than a husband and wife relationship? If they're both happy with it, that's fine, isn't it? So, but it's a complex relationship. You see what I'm saying, don't you? The whole thing is complex, but apparently Gus's biological father, there's some animosity there because he doesn't live there. He's reportedly said, and again, all these alleged things that he said that it was a dangerous place for the children to be. Well, he's been proven right, really, isn't it? Because it was dangerous because that little boy's disappeared without a trace, so something's happened to him.
Also lives here on the homestead together with her 1-year-old son, Ronnie. Gus's father, Joshua Lamont, lives separately to the family and does not live here on the station. Instead, he lives in Lilly North near Jamestown, which is around a 2-hour drive away. Joshua is said to have a commuter relationship with his partner, Jess. We understand that he travels between his home in Lilly North and the homestead here, but the word among sources in the region that are close with Joshua say that he doesn't quite get on with his parent-in-law, Josie. It's understood that Josh only found out that his son was missing after police woke him up at his Lilly North farmhouse hours after Gus had gone missing. I spoke to Gus's grandparent, Josie, last week, who said, "We're still looking for him. You can't help. We are still dealing with this."
That's a strange thing to say. Sorry, but it is. We're still looking for him. You can't help. We are still dealing with this. Now, I would imagine it's really annoying to have the media sniffing around and what have you. As I say, they're obviously private people, but surely they want this boy to be found. So you can't help. The media can help because it does bring attention it can bring unwelcome attention. I'm not denying that. Any true crime case we've followed, but sometimes it is the media or even social media that helps solve things. Not solve them, but there might be a sighting somewhere, or like in the Gabby Petito case. It's not all bad, so you sort of. And then, of course, it looks, she probably doesn't care what it looks like, but, when somebody, we are still dealing with this. We're dealing with what? Where is this boy? Surely, anyway, you don't know how you would react unless you're in that situation. I hope I'm never in that situation. I'm sure we all hope we're never in that situation. But the thing is, this family is, and the boy is gone. And there's no, it's urgent that he's found. I mean, you cannot imagine he's going to be found alive now, unless somebody has kidnapped him. Where is he? Where is he?
Still looking for him. You can't help. We are still dealing with this. Around 5:30 p.m. on September 27, Gus's grandmother came outside to find him missing from the sandpit that he'd been playing with out the front of the homestead. With the sun starting to sink, concern quickly turned to panic. For the next 3 hours, the family frantically searched around the homestead and the property. They were shouting Gus's name into the twilight, but soon enough they realised they needed to call the police. A major search ensued, involving police, helicopters, drones, and even police diving squads who searched the local dams. For a week, investigators scoured the massive Oak Park station, which is around 150,000 acres of sheep farming land.
Wow.
Every morning, convoys of trucks negotiated the 43-kilometre drive, bringing visitors from the outskirts of the windswept local town, Yunta, which boasts 2 petrol stations, a pub, a post office and a police station. It has an official population of around 60. They would then scour the rocky landscape, salt bushes and creek beds that all combine to make it all too easy for a small child like Gus to disappear. A footprint found after 3 days is the nearest police have come to finding out what happened to Gus, and even that footprint may have been discounted by police.
Yeah, and the footprint, to me, just seems suspicious, because one footprint, and something that did occur to me is, of course, this case happened after the Jack and Lilly case, which is another international case, and a boot print was found. And then, lo and behold, we've got a similar case of a missing child. And a boot print's been found. I just don't believe that that child would only leave one boot print. I don't believe it. How has he only left one boot print out in the middle of nowhere like that? Where's the other boot prints? It doesn't feel right, does it?
Since then, police said it showed a very similar boot pattern to the pair he'd been wearing, along with a blue long-sleeved Minions t-shirt and a grey sun hat. Yet an Aboriginal tracker concluded that it could have been there for a week before the night Gus went missing. In the absence of any further footprints, the trail went dead. No further leads have emerged, and police have admitted that this is more of a recovery operation than a rescue operation. The focus has been on locating remains, and now the search is back on. For now, we don't know if the little boy in the blue Minions t-shirt will ever be found. In a sick twist, psychics are exploiting the disappearance of a 4-year-old boy by posting videos on social media.
These psychics and these people this is wrong, completely wrong. They always, I can see he's near water, or whatever. Come on. Anyway, it feels wrong to me to be saying things like this. And of course, then there's that other person, some idiot, who made an AI photo up of someone looking like Gus being bundled into a car. I mean, these are like ridiculous, horrible people. These people should be banned off social media, I think, because they do make the pain worse for families. I mean, it's one thing to consider all possibilities and to talk about what may have happened or the facts of what's been found, not been found, the facts of the case. It's quite another to just make things up, isn't it, really? Awful.
Claiming to use their gifts to find the missing child. Meanwhile, a false claim featuring an AI-generated image.
Do you imagine somebody actually sitting down and making this AI image of him being bundled into a car? Could you imagine? Why would somebody do that? Honestly, I still can't get my head around that anyone would even, that this would even occur to somebody to do. They've got some bad karma coming to them, I'll tell you, and they'll deserve every bit of it.
which was shared more than 24,000 times on social media, alleged eyewitnesses had seen a boy matching Gus's description with a man. So where is little Gus? While dingoes, a wild dog here in Australia, have been blamed in the past for disappearances of small children, that is extremely unlikely in this case. There are precious few in the land around Yunta, since sheep farmers tend to shoot them on sight. The region is also protected by a 1,600-mile dog fence designed to safeguard livestock. Crocodiles, which inhabit the north of Australia, are not found in the south. Gus is too big to have been taken by an eagle, and if he was found by a wild pig, there almost certainly would have been evidence of a struggle. Police divers have searched every pond and water tank in the area, although some think Gus may have fallen into a well or a mine, but none have been found within several miles of the property.
Now, as far as the animal theories are concerned, I think, there's always a possibility. But, I think something would have been found. Now, don't forget he was wearing a hat. So a hat easily falls off, doesn't it? So, I'm sure if there was some animal activity or whatever, there would be something that would have been found, surely. I think it's more likely if it is, misadventure, it's more likely that he's fallen into something. If he even went, I just don't believe he went from that place. I just don't believe it. But anyway, let's suppose he did. He would have fallen down something maybe. And of course, the water, the dams and things like that, they need to be searched again, because we know that water can be very slow in giving up what's hidden beneath it. So they either need to be drained or continually searched at regular intervals, because things that might be hidden the first time may come up at a later search.
There are precious few naturally occurring sources of food out here, which is why experts think it's very unlikely that a little boy would have been able to survive this long in the outback. So while the mystery of Gus Lamont's disappearance is yet to be solved, chances are that the little boy who was wearing a Minions t-shirt with his adorable curly blonde hair will be found safe and well are fading each and every day.
Oh. How can he be found alive? How can he be, you think, well, it's just impossible really, isn't it, that he can be alive? Very sad. So that was something from a while ago. This video we're going to watch now is a more recent video. After that search didn't turn up anything. This is a more recent video. I think this was 8 hours ago or something. Let's have a look at this.
The pictures that we paint of the vastness of Australia perhaps just don't hit home enough. The people up there love it. But some people from the city and communities don't. They think it's just endless nothing.
It's been almost 4 weeks since Gus Lamont disappeared from his...
You can't underestimate the huge sort of vastness of that. And yes, some people will love it and some people won't. We're all snowflakes, remember? We're all different. We're all unique. What we like, what we don't like, and some people will love that remoteness and other people won't, so that's just the way it is. So obviously this family, they love living there.
Family's property 40 kilometres south of Yunta in South Australia's outback. Despite 2 extensive searches in and around the 6,000 hectare property, almost no sign of the 4-year-old has been found. Ruth Whittle has been the Mayor of Peterborough, the area's major community centre, for 34 years.
If you have a conversation over a coffee or in the supermarket or down the street, someone mentions it sooner or later. Somebody talks about the latest news that we've heard, either on the radio or the TV. We're all holding our breath, hoping that day by day something is going to happen.
A major search is underway for the child who police say wandered away from his family home.
He'd been playing in the sand outside his home when his grandmother went to check on him about 5 o'clock late Saturday.
So they look.
Now, the other thing we have to remember here, they don't have the CCTV that you would normally, like if a child goes missing in a city, you know, there'll be CCTV. Not really. There are a lot of resources that might be available to police in different cases that aren't available to them in this case. And as far as you're saying about the mobile phones, the mobile phone signals are very limited as well. So I think that would be harder too. But, you know, only the police themselves know that. So now there's also a possibility, and I'm not, you know, do they need to bring in, I mean, in a small place like this, has anything ever happened there before? You know, like this? Do they need to maybe bring in some of the more seasoned police, like from bigger cities or whatever that might be, more, what's the word, more used to dealing with possible, you know, child abductions? Or is this just a child wandering off? You know, I don't know what resource. The thing is, Yunta is a small place, so the police force there, surely they've got less resources than they have in Adelaide, for example, which is a big city, you know. So I'm just thinking, but having said that, I'm sure that, you know, they're all working together because, you know, they've even had the army in and everything. So I'm presuming they're getting all resources that they need thrown at them, be it a small town or not. You know, they'll be getting resources, but because they're things that we don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the police. We only know what information they release to us
Around the area until they actually call emergency services.
Our hearts are aching and we are holding on to hope that he will be found and returned safely.
So, yeah, so this guy was a family friend. He read out a statement from the family. The family themselves have not, you know, made any appeals at all. None of them. No public appeals anyway. And, you know, we have to make of that what we will. Maybe they're just very private. Maybe they're so devastated they can't bring themselves to. You know, I don't know, because all families deal differently as well, don't they? I think we've probably seen that in various different cases. Some family members deal with it by getting proactive and appearing on the media, etc. Other family members in these kind of cases don't want to know. You know, we've seen that with Jack and Lilly. We've got the sort of stepdad, if you like, the Daniel Martel has been interviewed many times, but the mum has not been interviewed. But then the biological grandma on the, you know, the father's side of Jack and Lilly, she's been interviewed a couple of times. We're going to look at an interview with her shortly. They all deal with it in different ways, don't they? Some want to be interviewed, some don't. And, you know, because we're all snowflakes, we're all unique, different in our own ways, and we deal with things differently.
Community and SES volunteers joined a full-scale police search of the property where he lived with his grandparents, mum and one-year-old brother. Fleur Tiver's family owns a neighbouring property. She joined the search once she heard the news.
They are absolutely just in shock, exhausted. These are some of the best people you would ever find anywhere. They're the sort of people that you need as your neighbours because they are honest, reliable, trustworthy.
The search for Gus has come in fits and starts. Last week, police abandoned their second search. The only evidence that's been found is a child's boot print 500 metres from home.
Yeah,
I can't
that's
imagine
weird.
what they're feeling, but uncertainty is always the worst, isn't it?
That's strange to me, that boot print. But anyway, so here's the neighbours saying how trustworthy, lovely they are. I mean, if you lived out there, your neighbours are important. You might have very few neighbours, and you hope that the neighbours you've got are good ones. She says they are, so that's what she says. She knows she's their neighbour.
They don't know where he is, how he is, if they'll ever find him, and that has got to be the absolute worst thing that could happen to anyone.
Keith Noble has lived in the area all his life and knows the missing boy's family.
Well, that's something that's got me beat, how a little 4-year-old could get too far away from the place before they found traces of him has got me beat.
Until you're out in this station country, it's hard to get a sense of the scale of the place and the isolation. We're currently just northeast of the property, about 45 minutes drive from Yunta, and we've barely seen another vehicle. Just goats, sheep, birds and the occasional kangaroo.
It's a huge area, and yet no evidence has been found, even though there's been a very...
Yeah, here's Xanthi. She always pops up, doesn't she, on these Australian cases. It's the first time I've seen her being interviewed in this particular case. I was wondering where she was.
Very detailed and lengthy search by police and other experts to try and locate Gus. So this is a particularly unusual case that they've searched for so long, and yet nothing has been discovered to indicate where Gus may be.
Police say they're investigating all the circumstances surrounding the 4-year-old's disappearance.
I think we've learnt in this country from other missing child investigations, namely William Tyrrell, that all of the potential scenarios, so misadventure and third-party involvement, have to be considered from the beginning. So they would be running all lines of inquiry simultaneously until the evidence dictates which of those is most likely.
Investigators say there's no evidence to suggest that a stranger took Gus. They say it would have been hard for someone to go unnoticed, given they would have had to travel along a dirt road and through a number of gates before reaching the property.
There is no evidence to suggest any other circumstances that might have resulted in Gus not being located. There is nothing to suggest foul play.
Criminologist Dr. Xanthi Mallet says cases like the disappearance of Gus Lamont are rare, and that the investigation is more challenging because of its remote location.
Yeah, well, it will be.
So they won't have cell tower data, for example. They won't have CCTV. They won't have dash cams to rely on. So there's less evidence to collect in that technological form, and there may also be less witnesses. So in a very remote area, it can be particularly problematic for police.
Police have called off the search for Gus but continue to investigate his disappearance. Back in Yunta, Fleur Tiva says she won't give up.
So we hope he is alive, and we haven't given up hope.
He can't be alive.
We know he's out there somewhere. We just need to find him.
To me, at the present moment, it's a mystery. I can't see what they're going to do about it.
It's so sad, but this boy, he just can't be alive unless he's been abducted. If he's out there somewhere, it's impossible for him to be alive. It's heartbreaking, but it just can't be. So, sort of almost, you're at that point where you hope somebody has taken him. Like with the other missing children cases, in the end, it's like your best hope is that they have been abducted, because he couldn't possibly be alive otherwise. Anyway, so that's what we know, the latest that we know about Gus, which again, as I say, it's not really, what's the word, and not updates in the sense he hasn't been found, but just that we know where we are up to now, and it's just such a mystery. Nothing's been found except that one boot print. So what we're going to be looking at in a minute are Jack and Lilly, the case of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, this time in Nova Scotia in Canada. And but I'm going to have a little bathroom break. I'm going to get a drink, go to the bathroom. I'm going to put on the video of my books and a word from my sponsor, which is in fact me. And anyway, sorry if it's boring for if you've seen it before. Go and make a cup of tea. Let me just put this on. Hola, soy Vicky. And are you wanting to learn Spanish? Have you been? Sorry, and I just need to mention to anybody who might be a new viewer who doesn't know, I'm also a Spanish teacher in my other life. So these are my books that are available on Amazon if you feel like you want to learn Spanish. I've also got a book on Amazon, which is like an autobiography, and I'll be showing that as well, I think. So, yeah, if you don't want to watch them, that's fine. Go and get a cup of tea. Go to the loo, have a bathroom break yourself. But I'll see you after this break. Hola, soy Vicky. And are you wanting to learn Spanish? Have you been trying to learn Spanish and it's just you can't put the words together? Common thing that people say to me is, I know a lot of words, but I just can't put a sentence together. So I'm here to tell you how you can learn Spanish through English. Learn how to make sentences, not phrase book Spanish. Learn how to ask questions, answer questions. Right from beginner or whatever level you are, if you're struggling in putting it all together, there'll be a level I can offer you a solution. So I've been teaching Spanish for over 20 years to English-speaking people. And these are the books that I have written. Break the Language Barrier Level 1 for beginners. Level 2 for intermediate or sort of pre-intermediate. Level 3 intermediate. Level 4 upper intermediate. And level 5 for advanced. There's really level 5 is to practice what you've already learned. So if you've already learned a lot of Spanish, but you want some practice with translations, conversation practice, games, etc., level 5 is for you. If you know more than level 1, in other words, you know how to already speak in the present tense, if your grammar has gone past the present tense but you're struggling with the past tenses, level 2 is the book for you. All these books are available on Amazon. Any Amazon, wherever you are in the world that you want to learn Spanish, you can order one of my books from Amazon. The other thing you can do, you may be interested in Zoom classes. I've left my contact details here on the video so that you can WhatsApp me or email me if you want to know about Zoom classes and how they work. Or another way you can learn is, along with the book, have recorded classes to learn. So although we're not sort of face-to-face as we would be on a Zoom class, you can still ask me questions. You can watch the class, on the video, watch the class which goes with the book. All the books have everything is, the classes, I can either teach you face-to-face like we're talking now in Zoom classes, or if either your budget doesn't run that far or you haven't got the time for Zoom classes, we can do it as a course where you get the book and you get the actual recorded classes, and you can learn in your own time, but you can still ask me questions by email, just not in the moment because it's not an actual one-to-one class, but you'll find that is reflected in the price. So if you want more details of how you can become better at Spanish, and remember, it's always progress, not perfection that we're looking for. Perfection is impossible. Believe me, if you're going for perfection, that's not going to happen for a long time, if ever. But communication, confidence, fluidity, all those add up to be fluency, don't they? Okay, so my books offer explanations in English, step-by-step, easy-to-follow grammar, gradual build of vocabulary and conversation skills, and all the answers are included, and you always have full internet backup. In other words, you can always email me or WhatsApp me a question and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so what are you waiting for? If you want to learn Spanish, don't hesitate. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Did you ever want to know a little bit more about me and my background, how I came to become interested in true crime? how I ended up in Spain being a Spanish teacher. If you want to know a little bit about me, a little bit more about me as a person, you can find my book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, on any Amazon site, wherever you live in the world. And I believe that everyone has a story to tell, and this is my story. So it's the story of how I grew up in Manchester in the UK on a council estate, and very humble beginnings, and my journey through personal tragedies, disastrous romances, and triumphs to become a single mum, a Spanish teacher, and an interpreter living in Spain, and eventually a YouTuber reporting on true crime. So it details my various experiences with people and places over 20 years of teaching, over 20 years now. Ooh, where did that go? Of teaching Spanish and interpreting through the backdrop of the recession, financial uncertainty, severe flooding, and living through COVID. I hope you will find it funny, sad, amazing, silly, serious, and stranger than fiction at times. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to make you angry at least once. I hope to make you cry at least twice, and I hope to make you laugh many, many times. So thank you for all your support on my YouTube channel, and if you want to know a little bit more about me as a person, then you can find out there. So thank you. Okay, I'm back. I've got a drink. I've been to the bathroom, and now we're going to talk about Jack and Lilly. So, a lot of similarities, aren't there? Oh, can I just remind you, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. A lot of similarities between these two cases. You just cannot believe that any small child can just literally disappear, can you? I mean, disappear. You know, they haven't been vaporized. You know, they've got to be somewhere. I just want to put up the picture of, yeah. So these two little dots, Lilly 6, Jack 4. Now he'll be coming up to 5, but it's 4 when he went missing. They've been missing since May, so much longer than Gus has been missing. But the actual circumstances of them going missing are similar, I think, because it is also a remote property, though not as remote as where Gus has gone missing from. And this time we're in Canada, in Nova Scotia, rather than being in Australia. And again, playing outside 1 minute. Apparently, they could be heard. Their GMA lives on the property. She wasn't in charge. Well, she's like their step GMA, really. So the lady that lives on the property, Janie, she's Daniel Martel's mum. It's her property, I believe. It's her property. Her son is Daniel Martel. Malaya is the children's biological mother. And they have a partner together, a child together, Meadow. They were in bed dozing off and on with the baby. And Daniel says, and, they could hear the children playing outside or in the kitchen, not outside, in the kitchen. He says he must have drifted off to sleep. And then Malaya said to him, "Oh, I can't hear the children." This is their story. This is what they say happened. We have no evidence to prove that isn't what happened. So apparently, the normal door to the trailer where they live was wedged shut with a wrench because there'd been a black bear. Suddenly, this black bear now they're talking about. So the black bear didn't get in. But the sliding door at the back, that's where they think that Jack and Lilly got out of the trailer and then disappeared into the woods. Poof, puff of smoke. These 2 little children just disappeared. But there's been a boot print found. So there's the boot print. Again, seems suspicious to me that these boot prints, single boot prints, you know. And then, of course, a little bit of Lily's blanket was found, apparently. And Daniel said that somebody had been in the bin and reached down and got the blanket out of the bin. But why was it in the bin? But anyway, and a piece of it was found on a bush somewhere. You know, so we've got a bit of a blanket and a boot print, and apart from that, absolutely nothing. So that's the similarity with Gus and what happened to Gus. So now then there's been a few other things have been talked about. Now a couple of the neighbours said they'd heard vehicles around, despite the fact that Daniel claims they went to, and Malaya claims they went to bed round about 9 o'clock the night before, never left the house. But then we've got neighbours saying that they heard vehicles, but then we've got the police saying that they can't confirm that there were vehicles. So are the neighbours lying? Have the neighbours had something to do with it? Or is Daniel and Malaya lying? Then Malaya left the very next day, took the baby, and off she went. So that's a bit of a strange one for me, to be honest. You know, if my children had gone missing, I wouldn't have left the area the next day and then never come back. I'd be wondering, you know, I'd want to be there when they were found. And, you know, people have said maybe it was just a mental state at the time. She wanted to go off and be with her mum. Yeah, you know, who knows? So anyway, we're going to watch an interview now with a recent interview with the grandmother of Lily and Jack. And this is the grandmother of Lily and Jack on the biological father's side. So this is Belinda, I think her name is. And yeah, Belinda Gray. And we're going to listen to an interview that she's given quite recently. Now, apparently, Jack and Lily's biological father had not seen them for 2 years. She hadn't seen them for 2 years. I'm not sure why that is. You know, why? Why had she not seen them for 2 years? What was the reason for that? Did they not have shared custody then, I take it? I think he had some drug problems. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs. I've got to be honest. I don't know the ins and outs. All I know is that Belinda hadn't seen these children for 2 years. Their father hadn't seen, their biological father hadn't seen them for 2 years. You know, I get the impression, and I do think that Daniel is a very controlling partner. And maybe Malaya was looking to get away from it. It's hard to get away from someone who's controlling, especially, you know, once you've had a child with them. You know, Malaya's very, very young. I think she's only about 24 and she's got 3 children already. Daniel's got 2 children by a previous relationship, which apparently there was domestic violence in that relationship, allegedly. We've got Jack with his black eyes going to school that Daniel said Lily probably did, or he walked into a door, or, you know, so this, again, so many red flags, so many mysteries, a very complex, complicated family relationship. And, you know, and then the added complication, it's very unusual for 2 children to go missing together like this, whatever the circumstances. So, yeah. Well, let's have a look what Belinda has to say.
Lily is 6 years old. Jack is, well, he's going to be 5 years old this month.
Belinda Gray can barely speak through the tears.
Now, one thing I will say is Belinda's the one who, you know, who does come over as absolutely devastated. Much more than Daniel does, or even Malaya did in the first day when she was the only interview that I've seen with her, or that Janie, you know, Daniel's mum, you know, Belinda does have this genuine, she's genuine, you know, you can feel it, You know, it makes me want to cry when I see her, you know, the empath in me. The thing is, if you're empathetic, you can only feel for people when it comes over as genuine. You know, sometimes I've watched people and I think I should be feeling emotional because what they're saying is emotional, but I'm not feeling it because I don't think it's genuine. You know, I've felt that with quite a few things recently, not only to do with this case, but other things that have occurred. When you're watching someone who's genuinely upset, you can't help but get emotional with them. And I do feel that with Belinda. That is true emotion on her face. You know, she's heartbroken. And part of it is probably because she hasn't seen them for 2 years. You know, the thing is, these sort of cases, they bring up all sort of guilt feelings. She may feel guilty that she didn't insist on seeing them. You know, sometimes people who, you know, but time goes, doesn't it? So, you know, it's easy to sort of judge, but, you know, it probably starts off, she wants to see them, and then there's problems with her son and his relationship with Malaya and Daniel, and you're thinking, right, we'll get this sorted this week, we'll get it sorted next week, we'll get it sorted this month, we'll get it sorted, and time goes, and 2 years can just go just like that. And I get the feeling with Belinda, there's a lot of, she feels, and she'll tell you that in a minute herself, I think she feels that something has happened to these children, and she'll be feeling guilty as well, because people always feel guilty in these sort of cases, except the perpetrators, you know, if anything bad has happened to Jack and Lily, which, you know, the more this case goes on, the more I'm starting to think there is some foul play here. You know, in the beginning, I wasn't sure, but well, I'm still not sure. So I shouldn't say that really, because everybody concerned has passed lie detector tests. Nobody's been considered a suspect. The police are saying it's not a criminal matter. So we have to take that for what it's worth for now.
Describing the children she hasn't seen in years.
The last time they were here, they were still basically babies. Lily was 4. She was such a carbon copy of me. She copied everything I did. And Jack was more sober. He was just crawling around the floor, learning to walk.
It's been 2 years since Gray last held Jack and Lily Sullivan, and months since anyone has seen them at all.
Your grandchildren are what you leave this world. They're a part of you.
When Lily and Jack went missing, Gray says she joined the search herself.
We started working our way up through the woods along a brook. And then we crossed over the brook and we started coming back down through the woods.
For Gray, hope quickly turned to suspicion, especially after their mother left the area.
When I found out Malaya left, I knew there was no sense searching anymore. It started making me think,
That's interesting, isn't it, what she said? As soon as Malaya left, I knew there was no sense in searching anymore. Now, apparently there were some altercations on that day. You know, they all turned up at the house. They were arguing with Malaya, with Daniel, and, you know, Malaya's parents. Malaya's mum was arguing with Daniel's mum. You know, there was a lot of accusatory things being thrown around on that day when everybody turned up to help search. But what I did think was interesting about Belinda, I mean, I don't know why Malaya and her son split up, but she said she was surprised, because don't forget, she hadn't seen Malaya for 2 years, that she was surprised about how Malaya had changed, about the state of the place where they were living, that Malaya was never like that before. She'd changed since she met Daniel. So I do think that's probably true, because the thing is, sometimes you don't notice with people how they change when it's if you're seeing them every day or on a regular basis. But when you haven't seen anyone for 2 years and then suddenly see them, and they've changed so much, like Malaya, a young girl, 24 years old, had changed so much since she'd been in the relationship with Daniel. I do think Daniel is not, you know, he has got this coercive control traits. And I don't think that would have been a good relationship that was going on there. Now, a lot of people are asking about the DRUG side of things. You know, what were there DRUGs found in the house? That's something that's occurred to me, that maybe Jack and Lily found some DRUGs and took them and died. You know, that's a possibility, isn't it? Having said that, the other thing we have to remember, the police were right there the next day, presumably looking in the house. And, you know, if Daniel would have had a meth lab in the house or whatever, surely the police would have found it. You know, they didn't have much time to clear up. I mean, the kids were seen alive and well on CCTV the day before. So if something untoward happened to the kids, it had to happen on the Thursday evening, afternoon, evening. Now, that does give you quite a long time to clear up, because I don't think the police arrived there till about 1 o'clock the next day, or 1 o'clock. So it gives you quite a time, but not really that long to clear up, does it? Because clearing up after a red room, or surely it takes longer than that. They didn't have lots of time to clear up. You know, but did Lily and Jack, were there drugs in the house that were, you know, Lily and Jack, you know, some drugs, I'm not supposed to say the word, but never mind, look like sweets, don't they? Did they think they were sweets? Did they take things and something terrible happened to them because of it? Is that a possibility? You know, and then everything else was to cover that up, because they'd be worried about Meadow being taken away from them. Well, the thing is, Meadow has been taken away from them, and they're only allowed supervised access, both of them, Malaya and Daniel. They have to have separate supervised access to Meadow. And the only good thing is Meadow's only so very young, probably doesn't really realise at the moment what's going on. So I hope this case, whatever it is, gets resolved before that little girl gets to be old enough to know what's going on. You know, is she going to grow up without these siblings? Dear me.
I think these babies wandered off.
She hopes police can bring her closer to the truth.
I hold them all accountable. I don't know how 2 kids can go missing.
RCMP say they combed through every possible lead, but Gray feels police could have acted faster.
I don't care what the criteria is for an Amber Alert. When you have vulnerable children missing, it should be an automatic alert.
Every day, Gray checks her phone, hoping for a message, a post, a headline,
Yeah.
anything saying they've been found.
To see if there's any new family members coming out speaking. And that's off and on all day.
I mean, you know, she's going with her GMA gut instinct. She doesn't think the children are coming back. That's how she feels. She looks genuinely heartbroken, doesn't she? Now, and I agree with her when she says she holds them all accountable. There were 3 adults in that property. 3 adults. The mother, the stepfather, and Janie, Daniel's mother. And they couldn't keep their eye on 2 little kids. You know, it's like they're all accountable in one way or another for negligence, if nothing else. Because those children, you know, you've put a wrench up against the door to stop a black bear coming in, and you just leave the sliding door so the kids can just go out at will. I mean, you know, they are all accountable. Because, and if Janie heard the kids but didn't even look out or go out to them and say, I know she's not their biological grandma, but she is, to all intents and purposes, their grandma. And she's responsible. Anyone, if I was there and I'd have no relation to them whatsoever, and there's kids there, you looking out for them kids. Where's your mum and dad? Well, oh, come on, let's take you in. Get, you know, don't go out unsupervised. That's what a normal person would do. So I agree with Belinda completely. They're all accountable, because there were 3 adults on that property. and these 2 children disappeared. And if 3 adults can't, keep their eye on 2 children, well, come on, there's something wrong.
That goes on right up till I go to bed.
Along the 40-kilometer stretch in Lansdowne Station where 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan lived, cadaver dogs searched the woods and trails just a few weeks ago. RCMP say they came up empty-handed, but families say they're still holding out hope the children will be found soon. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Upper Muscatawbit.
Well, again, I don't think the children will be found. Well, not safe and well anyway. I'd love to think they were. I'd love to think they would be, but I just can't see that they would be. They will be. Can you? I mean, somebody please give me some hope. Do any of you think that they could be found safe and well? Now, I just want to show you before we go. So that was a very recent interview that she did. I want to show you an interview that she did a while ago. And it's got some, as much as anything, because it's just got some lovely pictures of the kids on it. And you just get a bit more of an idea about the situation with her son. He hasn't really come out and said anything. Cody, their biological father.
My heart tells me that. I am the grandmother of Lily and Jack. I am the grandmother on the biological father's side. My son is Cody Sullivan. He's not in jail. He's never been out west. He does not have a criminal record. And right now he's living with me. He has been for 9 months.
How did you find out that Lily and Jack were missing?
The mom of my grandson called me. We were in town. She asked if I heard the news. She sent me the article that was on Facebook showing the kids missing. I couldn't call Malay yet, so I waited till we got home. And I called, well, I didn't call her, I texted her. And she told me that, yes, that the kids were missing, that they've been missing since this morning. I was in a state of panic, shock. But in the back of my mind, I kept saying, well, they'll find them. I mean, I'm assuming that they'd find them. So I told her, well, we'll head out first thing in the morning and help with the search. It was around between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. A couple of cop cars pull into the driveway. The lights wake me up that I'm a fairly light sleeper, so I see the cars pull in, so I knew what it was. So they come inside. They only stood in the kitchen. They wanted me to wake Cody up, and they wanted to know when was the last time he had seen the kids, and that they were just making sure that the kids weren't here. And then they left. So we showed up Saturday morning, me and my sister, and we met up with my daughter, and we started, well, I asked Malaya, I said, Malaya, I said, you know your kids. Nobody knows their kids like their mom. Where do your kids normally go to play out in the yard? What direction do they usually like to explore? And she said, well, they always play up in the little woods right on the side. I said, well, okay. I said, we'll start from that point and we'll work our way out. We had spoken to a search and rescue, and we weren't allowed on the other side because that's where they were searching at the time. So we just started combing through the woods up through there. We were gone for a couple of hours. I'm yelling for Lily and Jack. We always called Jack Jackie Boy. And yeah, that went on for a few hours, but those woods, I started to feel that I can't see them being in the woods. There's trees everywhere. You literally have to climb over trees.
Yeah, there's no way those kids went into the woods. I agree, completely agree. Don't believe they would. So we've got 2 cases. Basically, we've got Gus Lamont, that I don't believe he went running around all that expanse of remote property. We've got this case where I don't believe those kids went into the woods. So what does that leave us with? It leaves us with the thought that either they've had an accident close to home, and again, Jack and Lily, you know, they could have, something could have befallen them close. I'm sure they would have been found by now, you know, but it leaves you with just the foul play option. There's probably foul play in both these cases. That's how it feels. But, you know, we don't have no evidence of that. And we've just got to wait and hope that it's not going to become, let's see, I'm going to fast forward this bit to the pictures of the kids. Yeah, there it is. We've just got to hope, you know, that it's sooner rather than later, and these don't become cold cases like Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers.
I love you.
Lily is, she was my little dream girl, that the first granddaughter.
Oh, bless.
And I loved that she had the brown hair and she had a space between her teeth, which I had when I was a kid. So yeah, she was our little princess.
She's got a very sweet little face, Lily, hasn't she? You know, just a little sweetie, isn't she?
Princess. Jack was such a sober, serious little baby that he didn't like to smile. You could tickle him, and he would look at you ever so serious, like he was really studying you.
Oh.
And so how long were your son and Malaya together?
3.5 years, I think it was, yeah. I thought they were the picture-perfect family. Then Malaya started to tell me that they were having problems and she wasn't happy.
I thought they were the picture-perfect family. It just shows you even people close to couples, they don't know the truth of what's going on. You know, they weren't happy. To her, they were happy. You know, sometimes we just don't see what's right in front of our nose, do we? Let's see if there's any more nice bit. Let's fast forward a bit. Let's go to there.
Heart tells me that. I am the grandmother of Lily and Jack. I am the grandmother on the biological father's side. My son is Cody Sullivan. He's not in jail. He's never been out west. He does not have a criminal record. And right now he's living with me. He has been for 9 months.
How did you find out that Lily and Jack were missing?
So, supposedly he's living with her, but he doesn't want to be interviewed. Oh, sorry, I realised I went back to... Anyway, I'm going to finish this here now. But, yeah, you know, so many rumours flying around about Cody, about Daniel. And then over in Australia, there's all the things that people are saying about the Gus Lamont's family, you know, their complicated family dynamics. And what's at the crux of both these things are missing children. And these children need finding, don't they, one way or another, you know? Anyway. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'm going. And I will be back if there's any news, of course, about either of these cases or any of the other cases that we're following. Thank you for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And until I see you again, may your God go with you. And please pray for these children and their families. Thank you. Bye.